What's up, guys? Mike Patrick. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my excitement for smart cities, how I'm looking forward to smart cities and some of the reasons why, and another one of those videos that puts you on the frequency, that futuristic vibe, that futuristic frequency, okay? And switching up the content. As we know, as I always like to say, there's different types of content out there that is way different from this. So, why not put this type of energy into the air, okay? And talk about things like this. So this could be part of the series that I was doing, or I said I was doing, when it comes to the videos, probably the last 3 or 4 videos I did. And it's kind of just giving you that energy of like a new heaven and new earth. I even titled one of the videos, "We're closer to a new heaven and a new earth than most may think," and just giving an idea of what that looks like and how we're already there, but people just might not perceive some of the advancements and how we've come along so far in the recent past, and they might not associate it with, okay, this is turning over a new leaf, and how we are already in a whole new world and we're just stepping more and more into it. And so it's just something to look forward to for people who choose to look forward to maybe what you would consider the inevitable, okay? We got plenty of people. That's why I was talking about content, other types of content, always bombarding you. And you know what I'm saying? It's good to get a different perspective on things sometimes. So you got people who always want to give you all these negative views on things, and I choose not to do that anymore. So you got the conspiracy theorists when it comes to anything that's advancing and that's new and that's futuristic. You always got your conspiracy theorists, and they lean on conspiracy. It's really a deeper rooted issue with ego and fear and things like that. And but in order to justify themselves, you have to make it all a conspiracy so it can seem like it's a bad thing. Therefore, you're justified in why you don't like it, or why you want to try to fight against it, or why you disagree with it. And we all have been there. Some of us, we all have been there, where you start off you start off with conspiracy theories. When you're trying to figure this whole existence and life out, you start off with conspiracy theories, maybe. That's if you even make it that far, is to start questioning your existence, and then that might lead you to conspiracy theories, okay? But then many of us get stuck there, you know what I mean? But then if you get past the conspiracies, then you getting led more so towards spirituality. Then that kind of merges with conspiracy, and then you have a lot of spirituality, and then you get into that sector of content where people merge spirituality and conspiracy theories. And you're always being told how the powers to be, or the Illuminati, or whoever is trying to hold you back, and they doing this and they doing that, and they got us on lockdown spiritually and things like that. And I'm not saying some of that isn't true, you know what I mean, to a certain degree. It's all contextual, you know what I mean. You have to put things into perspective though, and it's so deep and there's so much to unravel, you know what I mean. But at the end of the day, guys, if the Most High wanted to destroy you or anybody else, humanity, anything like that, it could just be done like that, you know what I mean. So I think we're meant to be brought along, you know what I mean, in certain ways. And I think there is a lot of grace and a lot of patience and a lot of understanding when it comes to the Most High. And but we have to take responsibility to take steps towards the future as well, and not get caught up in the same cycles, you know what I mean, in the same cycles of ways of doing, because this all has happened before in regards to what I'm talking about when it comes to technology and things like that. I've said in the past videos, go check out those other videos. This is like a series, and all this ties in. And where people have always had an issue with advancement, and then you probably have always stirred up conspiracies and things like that. just for us to come to this point anyway. You know what I mean? Where all the stuff that they said was evil, you know, we end up, nobody lives their everyday life without it now. You know what I mean? So before we had smartphones, you know what I mean, it was conspiracies about, you know, what they was gonna do with the smartphones and this technology and things like that. You know what I mean? And it was supposed to be so bad, and you know, people talked about that all day. The conspiracy theorists anyway talked about that all day and all that, until, you know, now we're at a point where a cell phone is just a standard thing. You know what I mean? Or a smartphone is just a standard tool that we use. You know what I mean? It ain't so bad, you know what I mean? And even the people who was talking about how evil and how bad it was, they got a smartphone and they use it, and it makes their life more easier and makes things more convenient for them as well. And that's how I see all, you know, everything else being as well, guys. You know what I mean? But apparently it's human nature to feel that way in the beginning of things, you know what I mean? Because it's just a fear of change, and it all depends on who you are. Some people are desperate and begging and praying and hoping, you know what I mean, for change. And then some people are just fine with the way things was. You see what I mean? So it all depends on who you are, you know what I mean, and what you feel like you stand to gain or what you feel like you losing, you know what I mean? But so anyway, the smart cities though, guys, I believe it's a great thing. I like how, what I can envision is Wi-Fi. For one, Wi-Fi would be everywhere. You'll have, you know, everybody would have access to Wi-Fi with that, if that makes sense. So you'll have your device, but you know what I mean, now, as opposed to kind of how it already is now, see what I mean? But as opposed to you having to go somewhere where it's a free Wi-Fi hookup, it'll be Wi-Fi all over the city. So wherever you at, you're just able, it's just free internet for everyone. You know, you make sense? You know what I mean? So you don't have to go to a McDonald's now. You don't have to go to a library, so to speak, or somewhere that has free Wi-Fi and have to be in the vicinity, have to be in that area. You know what I mean? You can be right there, wherever you can be wherever you are, and you know, you could be in a park, you could be at a store, anywhere, and you just got Wi-Fi as long as you have a device. And we already kind of in the stage where where everybody has a chance to have a device, right? As we know through the government, you know, you can get a smartphone and have a cell phone and have a device, so you can always be hooked up. So even the homeless can have access and information, you know, information like the internet and all that comes with the internet and on the internet, and different apps that you can have on your device and things like that, because that's another thing. Different smart cities connected with different apps, where I seen some ideas or maybe some things, some technology that's already in the works, where, you know, just small little tedious things, day-to-day things that kind of irk us and irk our nerves a little bit, those problems will be solved, like parking spaces. And it's apps. I forgot exactly how it would work or what the app entailed, but it was some type of app where, you know, you can you'll be able to find parking spaces easier and things like that, you know what I mean? Something with the street lights, it'll be something with the street lights will operate better. It's just a lot of things that when we think of Wi-Fi, we think of like 5G, we just think of, you know, just Wi-Fi, the internet, you know, but it's a lot that the 5G technology, and then maybe even 6G, 7G as we go on, but you know, right now 5G is new enough, you know what I mean, it's capable of enough. So it's a lot that once we get those higher I think it's broadband you would call it, of internet, you know what I mean, or Wi-Fi, it's so much more that we're capable of, you know what I mean? And then I envision, like, you know, the electric car, so it's not so much smog and things in the air, because you're in a city where it might be a little bit more closed in, and you know, and if it's more people in a smaller area, you know, like right now in the bigger cities, you know, the air quality is crap, largely due to all the vehicles. You see what I'm saying? All the vehicles backed up in the road, you know, then the hustle and bustle, the stress of the hustle and bustle, on top of you breathing bad air from all the smog and everything. It just makes the city just so much less convenient to live in, unhealthy to live in, mentally and physically and spiritually. You know what I mean? Then obviously you're taking away from the natural life, you know what I mean, the wildlife and the plant life, you know, to live in the bigger cities. So I think with smart cities, you know, I can envision having areas like parks, because this is already present now. You know, I lived in the Richmond area for a little while, and even in the area I live in now, and all the areas I lived in, being from Virginia, right, there's a lot of areas where it's nowhere near as city as, say, a DC or a New York City or LA or something like that. But at the same time, it's not rural, it's not country. You see what I'm saying? So you have that hybrid type of a system. You know what I mean? And or in city and dwelling. You see what I mean? And so I already have experienced this, but I can imagine this for some of the larger, more hectic cities now, where you still have places that you can go that's clean. Right there in the city, you can still go to a park where you got plenty of trees so you can get fresh air and get away from all the vehicles and things like that. Even though, like I said, I envision more so electric vehicles at a certain point, and like the electric bikes, you know what I mean, the electric scooters, things like that, you know what I mean, people walking more, you know what I mean, and just being more, because generally we working towards being more healthy anyway. So you have people who don't mind walking more, you know what I mean, clean public transportation, you know what I mean, to alleviate the cars on the road. And like I said, electric bikes, so people actually, just the vibe and the energy of people being on their bikes, exercising, healthier, happier, you know what I mean, walking, healthier, happier. You see what I'm saying? The scooters, you know what I mean? When you see people on those scooters, they're having fun, you know what I mean? Getting to where they gotta go, and the energy is just better. People are healthier and happier. Everything is cleaner. The air is cleaner. You see what I'm saying? And like I said, it's just so much. Look into things like Google 15-minute cities, or now you'll see a lot of the conspiracy stuff where people gonna try to be making all this stuff seem evil. That's why I said, like, you gotta have the flip side of things. You're gonna have some of the first information you're gonna see pop up is conspiracy theories and people who are not for change, who don't want to see things change. They try to look for the bad or try to come up with conspiracies why this stuff is bad and how it's evil and things like that. That's why I said it's just contrary information, you know what I mean, or contrary perspective and ways of looking at things, you know what I mean. And so but if you look into it, once you find some of the more neutral, or neutral, you know what I mean, information about the smart cities and things like that, and AI and singularity and just that type of sector of things, then you'll see some of the different technologies that they're working on or already have out, but it's just not as popular, or not as used right now in the moment. And so it just looks very fun, you still got, still have your stores and things like that. Now we know in the cities, a lot of people who are against stuff like this is moving out the cities anyway. You have a lot of homelessness and things like that in the city. And I think it'll be good, because I think eventually they're going to be doing a lot of building, whether it's tiny homes and or apartment buildings and things like that, to house homeless people and immigrants and things like that. And or people who just poor, who's on the lower income level right now, who might not be exactly homeless or might not be an immigrant and things like that, but just life being easier for people, you know what I mean, with either extremely affordable housing due to the fact that at that point maybe we have something like universal basic income and things like that, or either just free housing. Now, I know these things sound really frustrating to certain people, you know what I mean, and and I know this sounds really unrealistic to certain people, you know what I mean, but like I said, in a lot of ways we already, toe in the water. We already passed toe in the water with a lot of this stuff that I'm talking about. So when you realize that years and years ago, we had our toe in the water with a lot of this stuff. Now, at this point, we're probably like wasting the water with a lot of this stuff. You know what I mean? So, so it shouldn't seem so unrealistic. You know what I mean to people, to some people. So the thing is, like I was saying, yeah, man, and and then we are, people have their devices, their smartphones. A lot of people, what I see and what I've seen with a lot of homeless and immigrants and things like that. Now, we know there's some bad people in every demographic of life. So I'm not saying there's not some homeless people out here who aren't bad, who aren't currently bad people, or who haven't done bad things, or things like that in their life. And same thing with immigrants or whatever. But mostly, from what I can see, is a lot of homeless people are just people who've been beat down in life, you know what I mean, who deserve a rest, you know what I mean, and things like that, who just kind of want to just be happy and just live, you know what I mean, have a place to live. Right now, the best they could do is just to be on the street, you know what I mean. They can't go out and work a full-time job. They can't go out and make tons of money to be able to support the cost of living in life and things like that. That don't mean they shouldn't have a clean place to rest, and especially if they good people. That's what I'm saying. You got a lot of good people who just, because unfortunately a lot of good people are in that position because they so good that they don't have the treachery a lot of times, and the what is it, dog eat dog mentality and spirit, you know what I mean, and stab people in the back to get ahead type of energy about them to be able to survive in such a world. You see what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? So a lot of times they just, a lot of people, they end up just, they fall out of society because they can't keep up with that. You know what I mean? Because they probably just die anyway. So, just something for those people. Or like you say with immigration and immigrants, a lot of those people come from humble beginnings. So they're not so cutthroat and so egotistical or competitive, or you know what I mean, and always trying to get more. A lot of them come over here, and the what we consider the bare minimum over here, or a poor lifestyle over here, a lot of them will be happy just to have themselves and their family and a decent place to stay, and you know what I mean, and some good food to eat, you know what I mean, without having to worry about starving, without having to worry about being homeless, without having to worry about being subject to slumlords and war and cartel or gang violence and all the different things, you know what I mean, that come along with some of the more third world countries. You know what I mean? A lot of them are just good people escaping things like that, and they don't want much, man. So I think a lot of what the Most High wants to see and is doing is, you know what I mean, he's gathering his humble, you know what I mean, who will be appreciative, you know what I mean, and things like that. And so people can congregate in a place and just be loved and be gratitude, and things like that. What else could I see for 15-minute cities, man? Or smart cities. Some people call it, like, I hate to even say 15-minute cities because I done seen so much negative connotation when it comes to that I don't want people to make that association. I'm gonna just call them smart cities. You know what I mean? But then even people try to make, they're using that as a term, and using it in a negative connotation too. But a smart city is just that, a smart city. You know what I mean? Technically, it'll be more accessible to more technology to make life easier and make things more convenient and simpler and in more harmony with the planet. Having some consideration that we do live on a planet that can't keep taking for all the people who don't believe in climate change and things like that. And I'm not saying that humanity is completely responsible for climate change, but I'm not saying that humanity doesn't have any responsibility at all. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? I like cleaner options. Even just for me, if it's just personal and selfishness, I prefer electric cars and things like that because I'm tired, because I value, breathing fresh air and things like that. It has a lot to do with your mental health and spiritual health and things like that. And once you get in a space where you really realize those things, and you know the contrary now, you know what I mean, to being around smog. Like, you know the difference between being around green trees all day with no smoke, no smog, and being healthy, eating healthy, you know what I mean, exercising and things like that, as opposed to being around different smoke, you know what I mean, and smog and eating bad food and all those types of things. Once you are familiar with the contrast between the two, then you really have a more of a respect, you know what I mean, understanding. And so, and it's better for, like I said, it's better for the earth to not have all that stuff constantly polluting the air and the atmosphere, if we can do better. That was another thing I seen. It was something where it's like an app or some type of technology that I heard about when I was, and it was like an NBC special. It was from like 6 years ago. It was an NBC special talking about smart cities and kind of giving you an idea. It was on YouTube, so you probably find that probably somewhere if you stroll down, because I'm gonna have smart cities or whatever in the title of this video. So if you stroll down, it might all be connected and related. But they was talking about how it would be an app, and this is very important for somebody like me, like where they'll be able to detect if somebody's smoking in a zone where they're not supposed to be smoking in. You know what I mean? So you'll have smoke zones and things like that, and smoke areas where you can smoke in and you can't, but I guess like more so outside. We know it's already like that as far as indoors, but outside even, because it's not fair. And I know a lot of people that smoke. I've smoked in the past, you know what I mean, things like that. And then it depends. For some reason, I could tolerate, like, I don't mind smelling marijuana smoke, I'm not gonna lie. But I don't know, it's just everything else though, oh my God. So, and even smoking marijuana, while I think it's way better, when it does probably have its health benefits, you know what I mean, and spiritual benefits and things like that, still it's probably a better way to be able to consume it than smoking, you know what I mean. But yeah, I respect that, and I like the idea of that, where, you know, the air can stay clean in a certain radius. You don't have to battle with, I'm trying to walk into a store, or I'm trying to get here and get there, or I'm just standing here and somebody has the liberty just to fire up a cigarette or a cigar or something right next to me. And it's like, if I made a choice to either never start smoking or to stop smoking, and if I value my health and things like that, and I just do not want to be around smoke. Might not like the smell, anything like that. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be in a position where I have to take in somebody else's, from a secondhand standpoint, having to take in somebody else's carcinogens. You know what I mean? Because they chose to smoke, or because they choose to smoke. You see what I mean? So I don't think that's right either. So I think there should be different smoke zones and things like that. Because the same thing with the vape. I don't like the vape. It's something about vaping too. I never even tried that, but excuse me. But yeah, guys. So this is just some information, again, just to kind of get us in that space, talk about something different, and to talk about something different from a different perspective. Because even if you heard about the smart cities or the 15-minute cities, you probably only heard about it from a negative standpoint, and there's always somebody trying to push their agenda off on you as to why they don't want to make progress or don't want to see the good in something, you know what I mean. But this is a more positive perspective when it comes to smart cities and advancements in technology. And then eventually, like I said, when it happens anyway, all that'll happen is the same people who was complaining about it eventually or gradually start trying to utilize everything that they was complaining about, just like they did with the smartphones, you know what I mean, and probably in so many other things that I'm probably not even thinking about, you know what I mean. You know, so yeah, all right guys, peace.